PATC Chalk Talk. We're going to be talking about the top 6 returning running backs in all of college football for the 2023 football season. And we're going to be going over Ross Dellenger Sports Illustrated article on Hugh Freeze, who says Auburn can eventually win it all again. Welcome to episode 176 of College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Flugar. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you do as well, please subscribe to our channel, smash that like button, share the video with your family and friends. Let's not waste any more time. PATC Chalk Talk 2023 top 6 returning running backs. Okay, here we go. Number 6, Southern Mississippi, Frank Gore Jr. Yards last year, he ran for 1,382 yards, average 6.1 yards per rush, 9 TDs. Frank Gore Jr. ended the 2022 season in a bowl game against Rice. He ran for 321 yards. I think he had something like 3 touchdowns. I'm not sure. Frank Gore Jr. at the end of the year, in his 3rd year at Southern Miss, he's all grown up. Frank Gore's boy, his son, is all grown up. He makes our top 6 in the G5 school. He makes our top 6 running backs coming back for the 2023 season. However, he's going to have to share that number 6 spot with Florida State Seminoles Trey Benson. 990 yards, 6.4 yards per rush, 9 touchdowns. Trey Benson, he's going to have a big year in 2023. Trey Benson broke some sort of record for the most broken tackles or something like that. It's just an incredible stat. How many tackles he broke during the year. And of course, as you can see, he only ran for 990 yards. I mean, he wasn't RB1 throughout the whole thing, but he is going to be next year. Watch out for Trey Benson, Florida State. He had to be on our top 6 returning running backs. Penn State, Nick Singleton. For those who've been watching Peek Around the Corner, in our way too early Big Ten predictions, we got Penn State winning the Big Ten championship. Lots of different reasons. Main reason, Nick Singleton. He ran for 1,061 yards as a true freshman. 6.8 yards per rush. Holy smokes. 12 TDs. Penn State, Nick Singleton, in his sophomore year in 2023, behind Drew Aller, trying, I think, a reduced offensive passing attack. Nick Singleton is going to rock and roll. I'm looking for huge things for Nick Singleton. Number 4 here, I think, is the controversial pick of all of this chalk talk for the running backs. Wisconsin, I've got Braylon Allen. He took a dip last year in his sophomore season. Okay? He ran for 1,242 yards. His average per rush went from mid-6 yards per rush 2 years ago down to 5.4 last year. He's been getting nicked up with injuries. Opponents' defenses have been able just to put all their safeties in the box. Again, Graham Mertz, who has moved on to play at Florida. Wisconsin has a brand new offense, a brand new offensive coordinator, coach, of course, Luke Fickell. They're going to go to the air more often. Will this loosen up Braylon Allen? Will he be able to get more yards per rush? Will he get back to his dominating self? I think he's going to have a great year in 2023. Outstanding year. I've got him at number 4. If you have him out of the top 6, I understand. If you have him in back of Nick Singleton, I definitely understand. But I think Luke Fickell is going to get the most out of Allen this year. Braylon Allen is supposedly healthy. So we shall see. I've got him here at number 4. At number 3, he can break a big run at any time. Raheem Sanders of Arkansas Razorbacks, 1,443 yards last year, 6.5 yards per rush. 10 touchdowns. Sanders can break a run at any time. Next spring, 2024 NFL Draft, Raheem Sanders might be the number one running back pick of all the running backs eligible to be in the NFL Draft in 2024. Sanders, his game, I think, will transfer to the NFL quite nicely. Sanders is number 3. Michigan, Blake Corum. You can't have a top 6 without Blake Corum. Now, he got injured at the end of the year last year. That hurt the Michigan Wolverines in the playoffs, but 1,463 yards rushing, 5.9 yards per average, 18 touchdowns. He's going to be behind J.J. McCarthy. Now, J.J. McCarthy's last year was his first full year as his starting quarterback. Now, this year, that's going to help Blake Corum. Blake Corum helped out J.J. McCarthy last year. I think this year, he's going to have to, and I think he will help out Blake Corum. Blake Corum has run behind a great offensive line. This year, Michigan will have a great offensive line. Blake Corum is number 2. So who could possibly be number 1 if it isn't Blake Corum? Of course. Ole Miss, Quinshon Judkins. In our earlier top 6, peek around the corner, Chalk Talk, Heisman Watch, a way too early Heisman Watch list, Quinshon Judkins made the top 6. True freshman last year. He ran for 1,567 yards, 5.7 yards per rush, 16 touchdowns. Quinshon Judkins. He's the number 1 returning running back of all of college football in PATC's humble opinion. Give me your thoughts. Give me your comments in the comments section below the video. I read them all. How did I screw up this list? We do have honorable mention. Mian Williams, the Buckeyes. Donovan Edwards, Michigan. Even my Bucky from Oregon. He's on the honorable mention. But they didn't quite make it to the top 6. Give me your top 6. Who do you think should be the top 6 running backs in your list for returning here for the 2023 season? Okay, now let's get to the article. We're not going to go through the whole article of Hugh Freeze. It's a long article, great article, once again by Ross Dellenger of Sports Illustrated. There will be a link provided in the description box. Please read the whole article. We're just going to go through the highlights. Back in the SEC, Hugh Freeze believes we can win it all at Auburn at some point. Not next year, at some point. Hugh Freeze doesn't look like a grandfather, but later this year at 53 years of age, he will become Grandpa Hugh. That sounds weird, he says from his new office, his feet propped on his desk as he reclines into his seat. I don't know that I'm ready for that. And yet, about 4 months into his return to the Southeastern Conference, grandfatherhood is certain to be the least of his challenges, but you wouldn't know it from looking at him. Speaking earlier this month within Auburn's new $91 million football facility, Freeze is his bubbly self, a self-proclaimed Southern born-again Christian who describes his latest good fortune as God blessing him with a second chance. After 7 years in purgatory, a stint stemming from his NCAA and extramarital scandals at Ole Miss, he was called up to the big leagues of college football. What awaits him, though, is no blissful adventure. All you have to do is get on the road recruiting and you realize you're right back in the heat, Freeze says. There's nobody bad at recruiting in this conference. An offensive guru who normally calls plays, he is delegating more of the responsibility to offensive coordinator Philip Montgomery, freeing up more time for Freeze to manage the roster. That means recruiting, building, culture, addressing name, image, and likeness, and establishing a better booster relationship, he says. He may still hold a limited play calling role, but he describes his retreat as a necessary step to manage the ever-growing issues of leading a Power 5 program. I think Hugh Freeze is making some wise decisions. You have to delegate some stuff as a head coach, especially in this day and age of college football. Back to the article. There are more changes as well. He has drastically limited his interaction with fans and social media, after crossing the line last year and has for the most part ceded control of his Twitter account to daughter Reagan, his executive assistants, and Kennedy Harvey, Auburn's on-campus recruiting operations director. I think Auburn and Hugh is a really good match, Malzahn adds. Malzahn is currently head coach of UCF. He used to be the head coach of Auburn, as you all know. Auburn is an unbelievable place. Hugh is really, really good. I'm excited for both parties. You can win the whole thing there. Unbelievable fan base and support. He's coming at a great time with NIL and the new facility. Everything came together. However, the talent needs an overhaul. I have this idea of Auburn from Cam Newton, Nick Marshall, Sammy Coates days, and all these great running backs, Hugh Freeze. I don't see that. I don't see that right now. I think I've got to spend an enormous amount of time recruiting. I'm not Nick or Kirby right now. Not that they don't work at it, but they've got it rolling. I'm going to have to be willing to do the extra to get us caught up some, Freeze says. And finally, last part of the article we're going to cover. As for the play calling, he'll reassess the situation after spring practice. There's no question that Phillip will have some play calling, Freeze says. Do I want to call the tempo version of our offense and let him handle everything else? I don't know. I may give it all to him. It's ridiculous for me to say I'm not going to step in and call some. I've never said I'm going to do that completely. I would strongly advise you to go to the link in the description box and read the whole article. We just went over some of it. Hugh Freeze, fascinating. We said here at Peek Around the Corner that there was a lot of interest in Hugh Freeze, a lot of interest from boosters across the Southeast, including West Virginia Mountaineer boosters. But Hugh Freeze, West Virginia didn't make a change. They kept Neil Brown for various reasons, a lot of them financial reasons. Hugh Freeze, the new Auburn head coach, is going to be fascinating to watch. I don't expect much from Auburn. In our way too early predictions for the SEC in 2023, we had Auburn at the bottom. But Hugh Freeze, he's done it once before. He can do it again. He's going to upgrade that roster. I know the Auburn fans are excited on Twitter, on message boards. I hope Hugh Freeze goes through with the commitment or kind of commitment to delegate the offensive play calling. Give it to Philip Montgomery. You have so much work to do with that roster. Plus all those issues, NIL, recruiting, better relationship with boosters to help NIL, to help recruiting. Hugh Freeze has a lot on his plate. Give me your thoughts and comments. How well do you think Hugh Freeze would do at Auburn? How well do you think? How long will it take him to turn it around for Auburn to be able to compete for an SEC championship? In 3 years, in 4 years, or never? Let me know what you are thinking. So the top 6 running backs in the country, Quinshon Judkins is number 1 from Ole Miss. Ole Miss ex-coach Hugh Freeze is now leading Auburn. Let me know what you think about that. We're going to cover this story with Hugh Freeze throughout September, October, November in the 2023 season. And we're covering all these other stories, especially the saga that continues to go on and on and on. The Pac-12 media negotiations. So hang with us, stick with us here at Peek Around the Corner. Until next time, from all of us at PATC, to all of you, please, you all take good care of each other. Thank you so very much.